Morning! Alright, so today I'm going to take you through a day in my life as arguably the absolute best officer designator in the US Navy, the life of a US Navy social worker. Let's go! Okay, well, normally, I don't actually do my makeup for work. I just felt like if I was going to be representing today, I should probably look the best I can look. So, here I am. Ooh, look at those boots shine. Normally, I make myself a hot cup of coffee, but I'm running a little bit late this morning, so I'm just gonna pour myself some pre-made cold coffee. I'm running late. Lunch consists of apple, a frozen black bean patty, and cheese. And breakfast, marshmallow yogurt. It's the best of both worlds. So you usually get your orders about 3 to 6 months ahead of time, so you can kind of figure out where you're going to be working and where's the closest place to live. So for me, because I am a social work fellow, I've been jumping around a lot. So some of my commutes are as like low as 11 minutes, others have been like 30. Whoops. All right, so I'm gonna head off to work. Once I'm there, I will explain a little bit more about what a military social worker does, specifically Navy social worker, because I went through class with 23 Army folks and their job is very, very different from mine. So I'm excited to share. Give me 1 second and I will get you to my work. Okay, I just got to work. I just started a brand new position. This is my last position before we PCS. Here's the most magical thing about social workers, okay? Are you ready for this? Navy social workers do so many different jobs. If you have met a social worker, you have met a social worker. Like, we are so versatile, and I will demonstrate that by talking about all the different jobs I did while going through my fellowship here. And just know that that's not even like a taste of what a social workers can do in the Navy. So give me 1 second to get settled into my office. Okay, we are all settled in. It's a bad angle, but it's the only one I got, so we're gonna deal with it. As far as I can tell, all social workers are LCSWs, meaning that they are licensed clinical social workers. So an LCSW, what's the difference between that and a psychologist? Psychological testing, that is it. So social workers are just as capable of diagnosing. We're now able to start the medical separation process. We're starting to be used in the same way that our psychologists are used, and that's because we can almost do the same exact job. The difference is we have a master's degree and they have a PhD. The world of Navy social work is increasing every single day. We're getting brand new opportunities. Some of us are going aboard subs now. A lot of us are going operational. I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I got to do over the last 2 years. That other social workers would be able to do, and then maybe about some stuff that I know other social workers are doing that I haven't done yet. So we're going to start with working in the emergency room. So social work in the emergency room is kind of it was fun, but it also wasn't fun. If a family member is dying, then we'll go to their bedside and chill out there with the family, make sure that they're okay, see if anyone needs anything, help them arrange paperwork, stuff like that. We're also responsible for getting rides from the hospital, like ambulances and stuff like that, checking insurance policies, making sure that our patients are signing up for what they need to sign up for when they sign up for it. It was a lot of paperwork, basically, not so much clinical. We actively fought against child abuse, elderly abuse, vulnerable adult abuse. That was basically our job. So from there, I moved on to hematology oncology and let them know about all the resources that are available to them, and make sure that they were set up at home, like getting their insurance, like electric bills reduced because of the equipment they would need, making sure that they had access to wigs, durable medical equipment, stuff like that. So all of that was on the medical services side. And then after that, I went to mental health side. So the first place I went was the inpatient psychiatric ward. So we were part of the intake process. We'd sit with the patient and hear their story, see what brought them to the inpatient ward. We were responsible for making sure that they had follow-up care and appointments set up in town. We would complete these like super long documents called DOTSers, which is like a suicide event report, which basically kind of helps the military figure out like patterns of suicide so that they can start figuring out better preventative measures. We should be used more in there as more therapy and less case management. So after that, I went to emergency psychiatric services, and that's back in the ED, but it's the side of the house that actually comes down and assesses people for suicide. So I would go down, meet one-on-one with the person, just kind of get a quick backstory, like, what was your life growing up? What's changed? What, like, tell me about these thoughts that you're having. What do they sound like? How frequently? Do you notice any triggers? What do you think you're going to act on it? What can you do to keep yourself safe? And then I would take that information back to a psychiatrist or psychologist on staff and share with them what I gathered, make my recommendation. Every single time they agreed with me, so that was pretty cool. And then we would go back down to the patient and tell them, like, we're either going to put you in the ward or there's no room in the ward, so we're trying to figure out a different ward that's available to you, or go home, and if you feel more suicidal, come back. I liked that job a lot because there were warm blankets and apple juice and stuff, and so I'd kind of like try to butter people up and be like, are you cold? Do you want a warm blanket? Would you like some apple juice? Are you hungry? There's sandwiches. Okay, now tell me about what you're feeling. The next place I went to, my job was once a week I would take in Marines and I would assess them for suicidal behaviors, for any reason that they should not be a Marine. We were able to separate people basically on the spot if we needed to. I also engaged in individual therapy at the time, so that was very, very scary. I had a panel of 15 patients, which is not very much. Usually panels are more closer to like 25, 30-ish. But again, I'm just a fellow. And then I'd also do these things called access to care appointments because our mental health is oversaturated. There's too many people coming and not enough of us to handle it. So we would just do these appointments called access to care, where basically we're like, okay, well, I think this is the referral that you need, so here you go. Or I think you're fit for full duty, or I think you need to be separated. So that was fun. And then after that, yeah, I've done a lot of things in the last year and a half, or almost 2 years now. After that, I went over to the substance abuse rehabilitation program. I was teaching about like anxiety. I was teaching about coping skills and distress tolerance, and then just talking with them in general during group. And then I went over to the outpatient part where I was leading group. Terrifying. So it was me and this one other person. We were leading group. There, my job was to assess people's substance abuse, see if it's problematic, see what the prognosis is, recommend them for treatment, meet them in treatment, go through the treatment with them. I was covering the job of a counselor, who's usually the boots on ground, and also the LIP, which is the licensed individual provider, who's the overarching therapist, making sure that the treatment plans are good, meeting with the patient once a week. So that was a really, really great experience. And finally, here I am We talk to people, see what they need, see if there's any safety risks, send them to the ED if there are, what referrals they need, give them some basic distress tolerance skills on their way out, maybe some sleep hygiene. Then more access to care appointments to make sure that they get where they need, are they fit for full duty, that kind of stuff. A group that I'm going to be helping to lead where patients just got out of wards, and so our job is to meet with them, make sure that they're doing okay, make sure that everything is lined up, and then also trying to put together a program where we connect to the network to make sure all the paperwork is coming back into the military, into TRICARE, so that we can track the fitness of our patients. That is everything I've done. These are some of the things that social workers can do. My next duty station, it's really focused more on like adjustment disorders, marital problems, no huge diagnoses like no schizophrenia, no major depressive disorder, no generalized anxiety disorder, nothing like that. I will not need this book when I get there, which sucks because I love abnormal psychology. But so that's going to be my job over there, and I'm going to be doing some group therapy, so I'm going to get to teach some people some basic distress tolerance skills, how to improve their lives through their own actions, stuff like that. I get to be a traffic court judge like once a month, which is just super bizarre, and then of course like standing watch, making sure everything is okay, responding to any incidents. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hats that I'm going to be wearing. Social workers, like, we're kind of all over the place. We do so much. Like, it is so crazy, and that is exactly the reason why I chose social work. I was going to be a psychologist. I have my bachelor's in psychology. I was applying for the program to learn how to become a psychologist, and then I met a social worker who was working with sexual assault, and she was talking about how she went from like the NICU to sexual assault over to domestic violence, and like she was all over the place, and I was like, oh wow, that's really versatile, that's what I want to do. So that's why I said earlier that social work is arguably the best designator, because we are so versatile. We work medical side, we work mental health side, we work with civilians, we work with military, like we're all over the place, and that's why it's just so awesome. So as things happen today, I guess I will just record them, and if I come up with any more thoughts, I'll let you know. Something I totally forgot to show off. Absolute must have. Every social worker I know has one of these. Shh. Just grabbing one of those for later. Something I forgot to mention is that even though you're a social worker, you still have to do your mandatory fitness tests every single year, 2 of them, and also do weigh-ins. So whenever you have downtime at work, it's a perfect time to get in a quick workout. Why did no one ever tell me I look dumb when I work out? Do you guys hear that? That is our daily reminder to wear a mask on base. Surprise, surprise, I got this today. It says, Happy Social Work Month from the social work faculty. How fun is that? Wow, it's so nice. Alright, so this is something that social workers do a lot. We like to give each other really nice, happy things. One of the things that my previous supervisor had given to me was a how to curse in social worker book. Alright, so we got 2 pencils. What is this? Ooh. My brain says mandala, but I'm like 100% sure that I'm wrong. Madeline? Oh, some tissues. I'm actually out of tissues in my office too, so thank you. A kind bar, as in be kind to yourself. So we got caramel, almond, and sea salt. Some hand sanitizer. Oh, a Kit Kat. Yep. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar. Ooh, a milk chocolate square because chocolate makes everything better. Oh, it's a pencil. Oh, a pencil sharpener for my pencils. A Milky Way. Okay, yeah, that was it. Alright, so this is like one of the most packed bags I've ever seen. They were just passing these out to all the different social workers and the faculty, so that was awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, like every job is different for a social worker. There's no way of knowing like when you walk into that job what you'll be doing. The place I'm going right now, the social worker, He is doing a completely different job than the job I'm going to be doing, even though I'm literally replacing him. It just kind of depends on the needs of the Navy. Another thing that I had forgotten to mention is that there's emergency teams that go out. So, like, let's say that there's an area that's devastated or school shooting or something like that. We actually are assigned to these really fast response teams that will actually go out and they'll do some really quick, like, psychological first aid is what it's called. So that's another thing that I forgot to mention. But yeah, so that was just a day in the life of a Navy social worker. Never forget that. And I'd actually like to hear from you guys. Are you planning on going into social work? Do you want to be a psychologist? Do you want to just do something else in the Navy? Tell me all about it. We all have our own experiences, our own stories, so tell me more. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. All right. Well, as always, stay safe, stay happy, most importantly, stay you. See you guys again next time, and until then, I hope you have a magically wonderful day. Bye!